morning and welcome to another episode of Moms in Real Estate in the Morning. We're so excited to be here. Real quick side note, we do not have the one and only Kristen Cantrell because it is her actual 40th birthday. So if you are in Kristen's world, make sure you reach out and you say happy birthday. We were hoping to maybe get to hang out with her on her birthday, but I don't blame her. I'd rather be doing something a little bit more fun. Although, Tina, this is the second time this week. Tina was also our guest last week on the marketing meetup. And I'm so excited to have you as a guest today because today you're going to be talking about basically how to grow your business online without like feeling like you have to post 47 times a day, and how you are really intentional and you are using, I think you're going to be talking to us about trial reels, which I feel like has been a hot topic. So you're going to give us some tactical goods today, right, friend?
Yes, I've got tactics and I've got some hot off the presses updates about trial reels. So I
Oh,
just want to
good.
say, like, big picture, I want to talk about the triad of my growth. I've started just drawing this triangle now where I'm like, it's Instagram content, it's my email content, and then my hyperlocal Facebook group, which was actually the hub and the starter of the other pieces for me. So yeah, that's what I want to say. Where do you want to start?
I love that. I love that. Real quick, if you don't know Tina, Tina is a team leader. And Tina, real quick, just touch on what your business looks like today so they know that.
Yes. Okay. So I'm based in Baltimore, Maryland. I've had a team since 2013. So I have seen some things. I love this business. Right? Yep. I've always been repeat referral and organic social media. I am no longer a young one in real estate. So I was a Facebook original. So that was like my big early growth driver in my business. My team and I have sold over 2,000 homes, 500 million in volume, and it's all from organic relationships. And then also this Facebook group that I built that has become an incredible lead generator for me. I feel like I should touch on that because
I literally was just going to say, well, you know, I got a thing for Facebook groups.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know. So like anyone that's watching this probably loves Facebook groups if you're literally watching a live in this Facebook group. So I have taught on this and I will teach on it again. So if any of you want more information about this, I can sidebar with you. But the long and the short of it is I was farming my zip code for a while with postcards. And many, many years ago, I launched a Facebook group to augment my postcard farm. And then I actually didn't do anything with it for several years. My priority shifted in my business. And then in 2020, this group that had just sat like dormant for a long time just started to organically grow. And then it grew enough where I was like, oh, I think that I should start working this group for business. And then I started testing all these different things for engagement, for growth, for lead capture. And that has catapulted into one of the top 3 sources of business in my team. And it's in the zip code we want to be in, the price point we want to be in. We're doing more luxury because of it. It's been incredible for like my brand. By my last count, we've done at least 20 million in closed volume just from leads that came to me through the group or referred me their friends because I know them in the group. It's probably 25 million by now at this point in 2026. So it's just a local Facebook group. And what I have figured out is how to run it really well, how to actually have it build my brand, and how to capture people from the group and get them into my CRM and my marketing systems. And that's where it's really started to do the work for me, which I'm very passionate about. So that's my group story.
Well, I love that. And I have a million questions, but so it's kind of like your Facebook group, your Instagram, and your email are all working collectively, right? That's kind of the triad that you were talking about.
Yeah. And I will say I've actually been the slowest to get on the Instagram train because my Facebook group has been so easy and low lift for me that I didn't really have like a strong motivating factor to go really hard on Instagram. But what happened is I also coach and teach agents, and I have an agent facing Instagram where I started going really hard at the beginning of this year with trial reels and growing that account. And I'm like I'm going to hit 10,000 followers, I think, by Friday. My growth rate, which I'm like so pumped about. So that's where I really started.
Let's get Tina there. Let's get her there, ladies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. At high
we'll
performance.
Have to drop your handle in. Yeah. We're going to drop your handle.
Yeah. And I try really hard to share like valuable, actual like tidbits on my account. So what happened is I had this breakthrough with my agent facing account, and I'm now in so much momentum that I was like, okay, I could really repurpose some of this like knowledge that I have to my other account because it's becoming more intuitive. It's becoming less of a time suck. And
Right.
I also have started to just connect some dots of how I really want to continue to grow my business in this geographic niche. I'm just basically doubling down even more because my Facebook group is amazing. But what's so funny is there's only like 15,000 people in my zip code per the last census. And my group has almost 11,000 people in it. So like there's still potential in my group, but there's also potential for me to be growing beyond the group. And that's really what's driving me to go harder on Instagram. So I will say it's interesting. My agent facing reels have done very, very well. But what is slaying on my main account is carousels. And I've had
Mm.
several carousels that have picked up a lot of aligned followers. And it's nothing that unique if you're an agent who watches what every other agent's doing on Instagram and seeing, I think all of us, like, Randy, is there someone in your local market that you know, like, oh, she has really good local content? Like, does someone or someone's immediately come
Yes,
to mind?
yes. There's a good handful of people that have local
Yeah.
content. And it's funny because they're the differentiators in my feed because I also am obviously very agent heavy. And so
Yeah.
it's like I have agents across the nation that I'm like, oh, we're all kind of doing the same thing. Like it's all, and then I have a disruptor who's doing something that's like hyper local. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And I'm like, man, like how many times I'm like frustrated because I'm like, I just was at that spot or I just did that or I like know that and I'm like I could have done that too. Why didn't I think to do that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So like I basically just started doing the kind of carousels that I would personally find valuable. And I
Right.
will say they take some time to put together. They took the two carousels I would love to show on a screen share, definitely took an hour, but it was worth it because I picked up a lot of followers. And then I did another one that flopped and I'd spent time on that too. And I was like, that stunk, but like that also happens. And looking back, I think the only way to do these things is to try them and see what works. So could I show some of these examples of the carousels real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Let me do my little screen share. And then I will show some real things, but I just wanted to say the game has changed with trial reels. And that's been like an interesting thing that I'm actively working through right now. And that is part of why I am going harder on carousels right now because Instagram is loving carousels more.
Oh, good.
So this is my main account, which is at Tina Believau. And okay, my most recent carousel that did really, really well was this recap. And I think I showed this a little bit last week when we talked, but for anyone who didn't watch that, I feel like this all ties together. It was just a recap of all the places that I go. And so basically I what took time was like finding pictures in my camera roll that kind of made
Yeah.
sense for everything.
You
But
got
I
to create
also
those albums as you go each day, like throw stuff in albums accordingly.
Yeah, and I use the word search in my iPhone
So
all the
smart.
time. So like I searched for like teeth when I was trying to find this like picture of my dentist. Um, you can search by location, so it didn't take me as long, but still I had to make like a little mini album of all my pictures so I could have it ready for Instagram. So basically I just put all of my go-tos and I made it like engaging. I made it and Instagram like messes up all this stuff, but like it just looks more organic than making it in Canva.
Right.
So I find creating in Instagram is better for the
Okay.
reach. I just
Okay.
think it looks more organic, it looks more authentic, and people connect with that because this is
Yeah.
authentic. And then I
Which
will
is,
say, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, such a good point. Like last week, I literally probably ignored, and I'm sorry if I did this to anybody, but I literally probably ignored 15 like events because I could tell the flyers were like AI. And I was like, why do they all look alike too? They're like completely different. But so I think that, when you don't have that authentic feel, a lot of times you're just getting passed over. People aren't even consuming it anymore.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. And speaking of AI, I am not anti-AI. I use
Me
Claude a
either.
lot. However, I am really not using it for my actual copywriting that much. When I just write something that I would actually say, it does so much better because, people are sick of reading the same AI. I saw this funny thing calling they were like, what's the term for someone who uses AI for all their writing? And everyone's calling them a slopper. So I'm like, I don't want to be a slopper. And like, no shade
Yeah.
to anyone who's using it. Like, I do know that like it's not like I'm a great writer, but like I consider myself like a decent writer. So it's just not as much of a reach for me. And I think we all need to like leverage tools that just make it easier for us. But what I actually did was I did a big brain dump into Claude of the content. And then I had it map out what I would say on each like slide here. But then I did quickly rewrite it because it's like, Claude helped me figure out what I wanted to say overall, but then I put it in my voice and it did not take long. So this carousel, that's my dentist and where I get Botox, which I don't usually post that I do get Botox for our conversation as we were kicking off here, but I just like disclosed and like I talk about like real things. Like I talked about my old acne scar. Like I think it's just very, very down to earth, which is what people resonate with. Like I am not the person. And I mentioned my sobriety. I've been sober like for my whole adult life, which I've posted about it like once every couple years. So this just really resonated. So I just shared like what I'm really up to. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but I got, I think like several hundred followers from that one post. Dang. And they're all hyper local, which is like hugely valuable. And I'm just pulling this up on my phone so I can tell you about it. The reach.
So while you pull that up, tell me that reach. But I will tell you, I caught it just a tail end of something that Gary Vee was saying the other day, and he was saying that online shopping, but not like Amazon, like influencer based shopping where somebody's like literally trying something on and saying, here's how it fit and yada, yada, and like on their profiles. So like social based shopping is like the next huge thing. And it's so funny because I'm always kind of on a health journey and trying to change. And as I've lost weight and done different things, I find those people that I resonate with, and then I'll follow them. And I like to, trust that trust is established. Right. And so then when they give their opinion on something, I feel like it kind of shortcuts it for me. I don't have to go research it because I trust them. And I feel like that's what your post did really, really well. Right. People were like, oh, wait, let me check her out. Like, let me look at her stuff. And then by your, overall Instagram, they could make that connection. They could make that trust. And then they were like, well, let me just shortcut this and follow her because she's giving me the goods.
100%. And I think once people get to know me, they realize that like I do know the best people, and then they value that and they appreciate that. And they like tell me that all the time. So yeah, I was going to say the reach on this Baltimore County Ride or Dies was 13,000. And then it had it's funny how the likes just don't mean as much anymore because this post has less likes, but it reached 27,000 people. So this is my other one that did really, really well. Because I think as parents, we're always looking for things to do with our kids on maybe not in May, but ironically, this did do really well. Like May is like so stressful. But this was again something that was like personally curated and not just like an accumulation of random things that like take place in my area. I used Claude to search for everything taking place in my area. And then I looked at anything that I would actually go to. And then I pared it down to the top like 8 or 9 things, whatever that is. And then there was one thing I manually added. There were 2 things I manually added because I'd seen them and Claude didn't find them and I knew about them. Claude also hallucinated several things. It said that like Johnny O, the comedian, was like coming to my town. Not accurate. So like I did need to click on the links and make sure things were real. So I basically curated it for like what I would actually go to. And then I just put it together. It's just like the other one I showed you. I did grab pictures for each thing, which was even more time consuming because they weren't all in my camera roll. But I just like, and this one like uploaded really poorly, which was annoying. But yeah, these are all places that I go. This was literally something I did on Mother's Day. And there were multiple people at the workshop who came because of my post and like stopped and introduced themselves to me. Multiple people went on this Mother's Day hike with their kids because of it. And then I shared something about my friend and client who launched a walking club. And then I'm not always big on like save or share this, but this one I felt like was worth saying that. So that post, it had huge reach. And then I'm just pulling up my stats here. I'm logged into the wrong Instagram. This pulled in 125 followers.
Dang.
And really after that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, this is finally worth me making a landing page and putting them in some sort of email segment. Because I just haven't been getting this level of traffic on this Instagram account. So I have before, but it's been a while. So then I went ahead and made, this landing page. And these are just like the two areas that are part of what I was saying. It's not even that good of a landing page, I don't think, but I just made it short and brief. And then when they fill this out, they instantly get an email with whatever newsletter I already sent most recently to that segment that month.
So one of the things I love is that you took action and you didn't feel like you had to. So many of us agents make the mistake of thinking that we have to have the entire roadmap completely done before taking step one. And like, just take step one, like even mini chat, like you don't have to have like automation set up and all these things set up, like get some interaction going, get some activity and some traffic going, and then build as you go. So now this is directly feeding into your newsletter, right?
That's exactly right. And I completely agree. People jump to ManyChat too early. It's like all you need when you open your Instagram notifications, you can literally toggle to just comments and then make sure you followed up on all your comments. And that isn't sustainable forever and ever. But when you're getting your followership off the ground and you're getting things off, like actual personal outreach is always going to do so much better than a ManyChat automation. And I'm not anti ManyChat. I use it on both of my accounts. But that being said, I started telling people to comment this zip code before I even had my landing page. I was like, I'll go back and follow up with them when my landing page is ready. And then I made this landing page on my phone over the weekend because I was feeling impatient. And I was like, I just need to slap something up. And it's fine. Like it totally does the job. And then part of why this made sense for me, there's two reasons. One, I'm getting more traffic on these posts. And two, I already have a monthly newsletter I send to people in this area. It didn't make sense for me to pull people from Instagram. I've mostly been pulling people from my Facebook group, and now I'm pulling people from both places. And that's where this like little triangle has built in my mind. So let me find the example. So this is the newsletter. It's Lutherville Living is what I call it because that's the name of the area. And then I highlighted one person who started this walking club. And then I regurgitated the May events in our community from my Instagram post. And then the other thing I do in my hyperlocal newsletter, this is like so simple, but it really makes a difference, is I highlight 3 interesting properties every time. So I always do my luxury pick of the month, my move up pick, and my starter home pick. Nice. And then I credit, if I have a listing, I incorporate it. If I don't, I credit the agent. And then these go to my lead capture site, which people then end up on and maybe start browsing real estate. And then they start getting even more drips from me.
Right. So you're just creating this sticky web across everything. You're creating that spider web. That's it. Tina, if somebody is looking at this and they're saying, okay, I love this, but where the heck do I start? Like, where do they start? Where, like, because obviously you have like that trifecta that's working well together. But if you were starting brand new right now, what would be the one thing that you would implement?
Oh my gosh, such a good question. The first thing I would do is start either posting or building a Facebook group, one or the other, not both. Start with one thing. And build to the point where you have enough traffic where you feel like, okay, I'm going to build out Flowdesk or Stan, basically. And then I would get Flowdesk if you don't already have it. And there's plenty of other platforms you could use, but I just think Flowdesk is the best for this kind of plan. And then it's very easy in Flowdesk to build landing pages like this, to build emails. And I think long-term, it is so essential to be emailing your sphere and emailing your database overall. You and I talked about that last week in more detail. So I think ultimately everything leads towards having Flowdesk, but you also need some sort of growth source, ideally, if you're going to do the landing page or like get my guide or like that whole strategy. If you're not doing anything like that for growth online, that is okay. You might be in a season where you just need to be nurturing your existing database and they haven't been hearing from you at all. And if that's the case, then I recommend you start with Flowdesk and get on your email game ASAP, because that is the lowest hanging fruit in our business, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, so one more question. If somebody's launching that Facebook group, what is like, so it sounds like yours is your zip code based, or how do they identify what if, because one of the questions we have is we have a lot of people that are niche based. So do they do it by niche? Do they do it by zip code? How do they know how to like control the parameters around that group?
So I'll give you the soundbite answer, but this is something I go into more depth on my training I provide for this, because there is some nuance. For first of all, you want to pick a name that people actually use. And most people don't say like, oh, I live in such and such zip code. Maybe that might be a thing though, where you are. But generally the name of the group should be whatever people actually call it, which is probably like, fill in the city or the town or the suburb name or whatever the case may be. As far as actually selecting what area your group should be for, that like what area you're focusing on, that's where it gets a little bit more nuanced, because I always recommend an area that's not tiny, but probably not an area that's huge, because the opportunity is often inside the niche and not something super general. It also depends on what you're passionate about. And if it's an area that is going to increase your price point versus decrease your price point. Is it an area that already has a super popular Facebook group that's going to be hard to compete with? Or is it an area where maybe there's like a gap in the market where you could easily get people to join your group? Those are all considerations, but I think the short answer is if you're already farming an area and that's like where you want to be working, then that's where I would go with your group. And then the only nuance might be like kind of how you position it and what you call it, if there's like a competitor group or something you're trying to differentiate from.
Well, I love that. And I think that that's actually like the perfect time to say, well, thank you first and foremost. You brought some great tactical insight. So hopefully you took notes, go back and watch this replay and make sure that you implement what Tina talked about today. But also Tina is one of our trusted partners, and part of Moms in Real Estate mission is to be the ecosystem where what we just talked about with Tina, right? She is that ecosystem for her community. She's that trusted resource. And that's what Moms in Real Estate is for all of our agents. And so Tina is one of our trusted partners and can walk you through this on a much deeper, high level, tactical, like let's get it done. Let's build it out together. So how do they get in contact with you for that, Tina?
So there's two ways. One, you can just DM me on Instagram and we can set up a time to have a phone call. So that's the simple thing, is find me at High Performance Agent, send me a message, tell me you saw this, and then we can figure out what you need and go from there. However, I am also hosting a free masterclass on this exact sort of triad of Facebook, Instagram, and email marketing this coming Thursday. So I will share the link and hopefully we can like get that out there. I'm getting so much momentum with this that I was like, I need to teach this and I need to teach it now, like while it's fresh. So
yes, so while you're passionate about it. So
yes,
Tina, we appreciate you so much. And ladies, like there's just so gone are the days where you have to do what you dread to build this business. You can build a life-giving business. You can build it by design, and you can build it doing things that you actually love and that you enjoy. What works is what you do. And so get in alignment with Tina, get in there and execute this and have fun building your business. So thank you, friend, for being here again with me. And thanks for spending 2 back-to-back weeks with me.
I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. We'll see you ladies later. Have a wonderful day.